Take your shirt off.
Ma'am, buy me a drink first. Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka GeekXX Chic, and we are back with another reaction to Andor. We're now to episode 7, which is called Messenger. So the last episode, we had two pretty big things happening on different sides of the galaxy, pardon me. In Coruscant, we see that Luthen and his assistant had to get the listening device off of Scanlan's art piece because he was going to get all of it. He realized there was one fake in the group, and he wanted to get everything reappraised. So they had to get that out quickly so that he didn't pick up on the fact that he'd been spied on and start asking questions. And then on the other side of things, we see that the heist that Cassian rightfully turned down. It was going, the other two rebellion agents, Cinta and I always forget the name of Mon's cousin. But anyway, they went to go and pull off that heist of getting the Imperial shipment. And yeah, we got to see Cinta again after a while. And anyways, the heist did not go according to plan because one of the members of the rebellion, who was a little too eager, brought a blaster against orders. And that blaster went off and ended up taking out Cinta. So yeah, even though the heist effectually went off without a hitch, in the sense of that they did get the goods, unfortunately, there's something much more valuable that was lost. And so, yeah, we're going to have to go into this episode and see. Oh, and also, sorry, the other thing that happened, I think on Coruscant as well, was that Bix and Cassian took out Dr. Gorst and the whole tower that he was working out of. So yeah, that's quite the statement. And again, I'm not 100% sure whether or not that was actually something that Luthen sent them on. So yeah, we'll see the fallout of all these different things in this episode. Ready to jump in. But just before we do, a reminder that if you'd like to know when episodes drop, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. All right, that out of the way, let's get into the episode right now. Another year later? Goodness, we're covering so much time in this show. It's crazy. It's been 3 years at least, right? Since we started. Someone just completely left the group though. We got a rebel within the rebels. Oh, here we go. How you doing there, Will? Still huffing gas or what? This is a much more peaceful location though. Okay, Cassian's here now too. Hopefully Bix is doing better.
Take your shirt off.
Ma'am, buy me a drink first.
What are you gonna do?
Anything you want.
Let's be real, Cassian, please. You're not doing nothing. Yeah, get to work.
Luthen wants to know if you're ready to work.
I had a feeling Luthen told him to be quiet.
He just wants to know if he can count on you.
Sounds about right for Luthen.
Everything's a risk. All we do here is get ready. Luthen is making things happen.
Oh, he's a believer.
You want to fight? Or you want to win?
I mean, you have to do both regardless. If you have to fight to win.
Tonight at the naval terminal in Palmo, you can see behind me vapor and thermal smoke.
So things didn't get better here. Unsurprising. But this is according to plan. She wanted the distraction of the rebellion so they could do what they needed to do. And also make the Gormans into an enemy of the Empire. So when they wipe them out, there'll be no sympathy or little sympathy. How you feeling there, Cyril the Simp? Is it worth all those pats on the head?
Dragging you out there for what? Help him torch the place?
I'm pretty sure he's going above his own volition. This table and chairs are so creative.
ISB Supervisor Dejanira.
Oh, your nemesis.
You know her?
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
In the open, I've seen her. She's there now, and she's there waiting to be killed. And
Is
I
she?
know you're gonna say it's for revenge, but it's not.
It kind of is, though, a little bit.
She's a monster.
That is true. That is a fact.
You won't have a better chance.
It's a little too easy, Wilman. I think even you know she's never going to be a sitting duck. Dedra may be many things, but an idiot's not one of them.
Krennic's had the lab in Edu working overtime all year.
Sure they do.
Science, but it's bad luck, Gorman.
Oh, okay. Sure.
We'll need a declaration of martial domain as soon as
Martial law. Okay. Relocation. They're not going to want to leave.
He is a crisis specialist. He'll be bringing a variety of personnel to help manage the situation.
Crisis specialist, huh?
Let the image of professional ascendance settle your nerves.
Man, this man is always about image. The fact that she's a little rattled by the fact that you're about to blow up a planet.
You're aware, sir, that the insurgents have weapons at this point.
It won't matter.
We're counting on it.
Yeah, it really won't matter. He wants to wipe them out. Have you not picked up on this yet, Dedra? They want as many dead Gormans as possible.
And who's this tactical guy in your control room?
You be asking questions like you have any level of authority, bro.
Now there's evidence I have to beg for?
We are trying to prevent an incident.
By keeping me in the dark.
Take it down, simp.
My sources say this is nonsense.
Stop.
What am I doing here?
It's figuring it out finally after a year.
We'll be out of here soon. We'll be back in Coruscant. We'll be together.
Look at that.
Rewarded.
Look away from all the nasty stuff. Look at the flowers.
Accomplished.
You'll find out. We'll see. Is he going to defy his head mistress there and actually investigate what's actually going on? And if he does find out, is he going to do anything about it? Listen, I've always said I don't think Cyril would have been okay with this. Like, he wants to be recognized. He wants to be patted on the head, but I don't think he wants to be part of anything like this.
Terrorist attack overnight as a series of explosions rocked the naval terminal in Palma.
And they're making sure to put lots of coverage to the rebel activity. Once again, they're making sure that people feel like Gorman gets what it deserves when they do what they do.
Apologies, I've been awaiting your arrival.
You again.
Please.
Wasn't this the guy that refused to give her help when she was asking for support on something?
This bombing last night.
They have no shame, do they?
We're assembling a petition, and I know how sad
That's pretty much as it's going to be as a petition.
I've done a poor job letting you know how much I admire your grace.
This feels like a goodbye.
Protect yourself.
Yep, he senses something bad's about to happen, especially if they're watching Senate people now. They're still fighting about the approach. Period. He finally caught on. They are. And sadly, you fell right into their trap.
You could have just asked me.
But you've come.
No.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
What's the harm?
Try it. Worst that could happen is it doesn't work.
She hated force
She
healers.
was one force healer 10 years ago.
One was enough.
Doesn't mean the whole thing's a scam.
Yeah, I think you should give it a try.
What's the risk?
Call him out. Exactly. Uh-oh.
What is this?
She senses something. Is one of you force sensitive?
Can you wait, please?
Maybe he's force sensitive.
Give us a moment. I'll be back.
I'm trying to remember from back in season 1, his home planet and his sister.
I was about to ask how I know you, but I'm realizing now that's not it at all.
I'm late already.
Shush, Cassian, relax.
He's got a blaster brain that's not healing.
Your right shoulder.
The force isn't evil, Cassian. Don't be such a baby. She looks so sad.
Thank you.
Thank you for what?
Exactly.
The clarity. I thought it had gone for good.
Can you speak plainly?
You saw something.
She did.
Why do you keep pushing?
Because it's... yeah, like, breathe, Cassian.
Stay if you want.
Please find out, Bix. He's being a baby. Moving on.
Most beings carry the things that shape them. They carry the past. But some, very few. Your pilot.
He carries?
They're gathering as they go. There's a purpose to it.
Okay.
Maybe you're the place he needs to be.
Probably not if you're saying it's needs as in present, not as in past. Okay, interesting. I thought maybe it had something to do with his home planet and his sister, potentially. But yeah, Cassian, usually a non-healing wound is symbolic of something. I don't think Cassian wants to go back to work. That's part of like literally, the power of your mind is crazy. You can actually keep things from healing and you can keep yourself back if you really don't want to move forward.
If I had something to offer, if we could lay this off on outsiders, then...
Deserved. I mean, I do think Cyril does genuinely care. He knows something's up now that's bigger than what he thought it was, and he can't put it together yet. But going to them is not the right move, Cyril. They've got their own problems to worry about. Very big problems.
It's better, isn't it?
Haha. Bix was right. Get used to it.
What happened when she touched you?
She's a cook in the mess hall.
And you're more than a pilot.
Stop running, Cassian.
She felt it from across the yard. She wasn't making that
Exactly.
scam.
What was it then?
I don't
The Force.
Why are you doing this?
Because it's the truth.
I know you felt something. That's why you're so upset.
Probably haven't felt it since you were a kid, maybe?
It could only be good. There's no other reason.
I think you kind of have to, bro. That wound's telling you something.
You know where I stand. The day I need permission to come and go, I'm gone.
That day is near.
Okay, but it's not today. So in the end, he was right. You really could not stop him from leaving. What was that whole conversation for? You had to try though, right? How things have changed in Gorman in just a year. No more people, no more buzz, just imperial losers.
Get these men shaped up and ready for presentation.
There's not a man amongst them, sir, but I'll do what I can.
Oh, rude.
Am I going to have a problem with you?
Oh.
Really noted, sir. Problem-free.
Bro, if you can't even actually look me eye to eye, I'm not taking you that seriously.
Attention! Left turn!
These look like these guys just got recruited yesterday. My guess is they're also cannon fodder.
You said come in low, right?
I mean, Cassian may be a lot of things, but a bad pilot is not one of them. He can handle it. If Cassian looks nervous, then I'd look nervous.
You're looking for Cassian, aren't you?
No. They sent me to talk to you.
Interesting.
We're not a bunch of maniacs running around Aldani. We're building a real army.
Okay.
Cassian is a leader now.
I haven't seen Luthen this episode, come to think of it.
A little discipline doesn't seem too much to ask.
Potentially, but that's not Cassian.
He'll be there when you need him.
I'll pass that along.
May not be the way that you want him, but he'll be there when you need him. But yeah, that's one thing. I think they obviously don't know Cassian well if they think that he's just going to follow things to a letter. He's just not that kind of guy for the most part. He's always done what he wants to do.
Right, here comes my guy.
Comms first thing.
All right, so they're just going for this revenge, which is what it is. No, it really isn't sensible. I get it. Believe me, I get it. Dedra deserves it, but she's just one of many heads of this Hydra. Like, you take off her head, they're just going to put someone else in her place.
You'll have to carry your own bag this time. Another way.
He recognizes you. See, it's a good thing he made some friends last time. See, this is why you need to be nice to everybody, no matter wherever you go, wherever you might patronize. It's very good to be polite and kind to the people who work there, because you never know when that's going to come back in clutch. This boy learns nothing. Focus on the task, Wilman. The last time you let your eyes wander, it got somebody killed, quite literally. Please. I'm not saying the boy don't deserve some happiness, but come on. Time. Place. Is that her office? Or just outside her office? Ah, those are droids, right? Oh, no. Sorry. Oh, God, Imperials. Okay, yeah, it's serious. If they brought in the masks, this is no little thing no more. Yep. Starting to get the scope now, Cassian? I mean, he kind of knew it before, to be honest. That's why he walked away, but this may not be as easy as you think. She's being covered. The revenge is never easy. Things are getting spicy, guys. Things are getting spicy in the game of revenge and intrigue. Okay, well, this was actually a little bit more of a breather episode, considering that the last one was pretty action-packed. As I mentioned, no Luthen this episode, which is interesting. I'm wondering where he's at. The fact that we've got several people kind of talking like they haven't heard from Luthen in a while, or that he's kind of going through people to contact people. I wonder if Luthen's gone dark. Very possible, because we saw that with Skunlin starting to eyeball his Luthen's cover business a little too tightly, and with, obviously things are getting very tense in the political side of things right now. I think Luthen probably decided to withdraw and maybe drop out of sight, because yeah, it's not like if what he was set up with in Coruscant was very flaky, if we're being honest, right? It looked good, and from a distance it would hold up, but if anyone really started to give it too much scrutiny, very easy for him to be found out, very easy for it to fall apart. So, with the way things are going, maybe Luthen has decided to withdraw to some place a little less hot and take the heat off of himself for a while. But anyway, we see that on the Cassian side of things, Cassian and Bix are now on this rebel planet. It's been a year since they took out Gorst. That looks like it did help Bix a lot. Sometimes it does help to kind of put face to your demon and slay it in this case. And I mean, Gorse was only a beginning of her issues. Obviously, what he did to her was more what was troubling her. But I guess knowing that someone like him could never touch her again or do anything like what he did to her again was probably it probably provided her with a peace that allowed her to, put some things to rest that she wasn't able to do before. I mean, also, let's face it, sometimes revenge really does feel good in the moment. And in this case, it was kind of more than just pure revenge, because they were going to give him a lot of power, and they were going to expand his type of questioning and torture into whatever they were doing on Coruscant with all those prisoners. So, she really did do the world a favor by getting rid of him. So I think that's the other reason why it was probably a little less than just purely revenge in this case. But either way, I'm just happy that she seems to be doing better. Like, she was not doing well on Coruscant. She was fading. She was fading, and we saw that she was using more of the drugs, etc. So it looks like now on this planet, she looks a lot better now. She looks clearer. I'm thinking it looks like she's not using anymore. So that's good, right? I think that being in this place, and she said that she kind of wanted a place where she could feel like it was home, where she could settle and didn't feel like she was constantly about to be pulled into something dangerous. I think that did wonders for her mental health. So, in this world, as I've said multiple times, like, there's no therapy here. So she needed something to offset all that stress. So it looks like this was the right thing. And looks like Cassian's been with her as well. Looks like they've also been avoiding missions this whole time. Oh, well, maybe not, because Cassian got hurt. So I guess maybe just not doing as much. But either way, we see that there's this rebel base is actually growing. This is the most formalized situation we've seen in Andor. Like, obviously, if we watch the movies, etc., you know that there's been established rebel bases. But in the Andor series, this is the most established base we've seen thus far as what's being built here. And we see that Willman is still in play. Again, I don't know how his mental state is. The last time we saw him, he was crashing out a little bit. But he looks like he's back, at least on point. And he's still very much in the resistance. He's still working with Luthen. He's still listening to Luthen. And we see that he and Cassian are having a bit of conflict over that, because Cassian he's still of the mindset clearly that Luthen only cares about himself, and that Luthen's not risking enough or isn't risking as much as the people that he works with are. And, I talked about it at length in the last episode that I don't think a lot of people think about where Luthen was pulling his strings from. Like, yes, were they puppets for him? Yes. But it wasn't that he wasn't taking any risks. It just wasn't maybe necessarily immediate risks to his life the way that these other people were. But anyway, we see that Willman and Cassian are not exactly on the same page where that's concerned. But more importantly, Willman came to them because he wants Cassian. Well, first of all, he said that Luthen wanted to know if Cassian was still reliable, that if he asked him to do something or needed him, would Cassian be available? And Cassian didn't want to answer that question. But it's kind of the way that Bix put it. Like, Cassian's the kind of guy that he may not be there in the way you want him to be, but he'll be there when you need him to be there. And so I think it's still the same with Luthen, even though he clearly has his issues with Luthen and Luthen's methods. I think that he still knows that Luthen absolutely saved his bacon multiple times. So I do think that deep down Cassian does still have a modicum of respect for him and will show up if necessary. But anyway, Willman came with a more important mission, a more personal mission, and that was Dedra. He's like, I've been to Gorman, I've seen her, she's out in the open, she's not hiding behind Imperial, levels of Imperial people and bureaucracy anymore. So if we want to take a shot at her, here's the time. And, obviously Willman's got a very personal reason for hating Dedra, and Cassian and Bix both know that she knows them, knows their faces, and was obsessed with them and finding them. So taking her out would be something that would take something off, like take some heat off of their tails. Now, as I said in the episode, is it going to necessarily be the end of their problems? No, not necessarily. Because, like I said, Dedra is sadly just one of many heads of this very, very windy, toxic, poisonous snake that is the Empire. Like, yeah, she does have a personal reason why she's been going after Cassian in particular so intimately. But overall, she's still a representative of a bigger issue in the Empire. Project Access is still in play, even if it hasn't been prioritized. So you take her out, they're just going to find A, someone to replace her, and B, someone's just going to pick up where she left off, especially if they figure out that Willman or Cassian is part of the reason that she's gone. So as I said, even though, yes, it would take care of a personal vendetta and it would kind of take out somebody who has a personal vested interest in capturing them, it wouldn't end or solve their problem. It's still just, as I said, Dedra in the end is just a figurehead. They can replace her very easily. But the other thing that they don't know of right now is Cyril, right? Cyril and her connection. Like, even though right now the two of them are a little bit shaky because Cyril has figured out that he's being lied to, or well, yeah, it is lies. It's lies by omission, right? I don't think that Dedra's trying to flat out lie to him, but she is clearly keeping the true reason that they're there from him. And despite all of that, Cyril still loves her, right? Like that's someone he's very much, entangled with. And if she gets taken out, Cyril's not going to care why. You know what I mean? Like again, they're probably just going to create a new enemy in Cyril, because he will absolutely make it his life's mission to find Cassian and Wilman and possibly Bix too, and just take them out because of her. So like I said, this plan it's very shaky, and I don't think Luthen is aware of this plan either, because I don't think Luthen would want them to do this, because it is a personal thing. Like, annoying as Dedra is, she hasn't even been pursuing Cassian directly in the past year because she's been too concerned with this particular mission. So yeah, all of that to say that it's messy, and Cassian didn't really want to do it, but I think that he wanted to back up Wilman because that's someone he cares about. And then after his session with the Force user, I don't know if we can call her a Jedi, the Force healer that they had there, that was a very interesting situation there with her. I like the fact that she sensed Cassian. And I mean, from what I know of this world, Force users or Force sensitive people can only pick up on other Force sensitive people. They don't just pick up, I mean, they can, like those who are very, very, powerful or very well versed in the Force can pick up on other things like intention and things like that. But I don't get the sense that this Force healer is quite that good. But again, we don't know. We don't know at this point, right? Because we haven't seen a single Jedi in this series. So anyway, I think that it's safe to say, because remember back in season 1, we got very little of Cassian's background, but it was enough to say the planet he was from, the way his people lived. There was a lot of questions about that, and what was the reason for the Empire wanting to destroy everything on that planet outside of resources, right? I do think that there was some more to do, more things. Again, I'm very fuzzy on that. It's been a long time since I've watched, but we know historically in this world that if the Empires wanted a certain group gone, it is typically because they've been Force users. And especially because we know that Palpatine is behind all this stuff. Of course, he doesn't want any rogue Force users in any way, right? That are not someone he can control. So all that to say, I just think there might be something going on with Andor. Is he like a Jedi? No, but we all know that you can just be Force sensitive and not necessarily be wielding it in any way. But something about Cassian, his energy, the way that the Force is with him, it triggered something in this Force healer to the point where she sensed him as soon as he walked into her area. So whatever she did, whatever she was putting out for the Force, he was responding to it. And I love that Bix was able, again, Bix is very perceptive, always has been. She's like, Cassian, I saw that something happened. You sensed that she sensed you. And then when she came up to you and she touched you, something happened and triggered something in you. And that's why you panicked. And the only things we've seen that have really triggered deep fear in Cassian have typically been about his childhood, about his background, and about his sister. So that's why I'm assuming that has something to do with all the way back to his childhood, his planet, his upbringing, things that he's long tried to suppress. So I don't know. But yeah, the Force user didn't give us much, to be perfectly honest. She didn't give us anything of use. She was kind of like, yeah, I've sensed that what did she say? That, most of the time the Force picks up on memories and pain and fear that shape a person currently. But the difference with Cassian is that he's gathering these types of things because it's all culminating to something still. As opposed to something that's already happened. And so what stood out to me out of all the stuff that she said, the very extraordinarily vague stuff that she said, was that A, he's a messenger, and B, he needs to be somewhere. She said that in present tenses, and it hasn't happened yet. So when she said to Bix, oh, maybe you're where he needs to be, I feel like that was a placating statement, because she saw how much panic that Cassian had at her, just in that whole interaction, and also the fact that he's clearly very attached to Bix. But I think she just said that, but I think, her wording stands, as in what Cassian needs to do has not happened yet. And it's not, yes, he loves Bix, and being with her and protecting her is very important. But, I think she's alluding to the fact that Cassian is being groomed for something more, like something, forces larger than himself are shaping him for something that is bigger than just protecting Bix. And Bix doesn't need it like that anymore, right? She kind of said that in this episode, like, Cassian, I don't need you to hover over me anymore. And also she's like, you need to figure out why you have this wound, right? We found out he had a wound, a blaster wound that's apparently quite old, that's still giving him pain, still giving him trouble. It's not healing properly. And she's like, that's not normal. That's why she took him to the Force healer in the first place. And so I was saying in the episode that, IRL, I was saying that, in real life, like people underestimate the power of our minds. Like if you are genuinely traumatized or you have a really deep-seated fear or anxiety about something, you can literally manifest physical things that will stop you from doing things you don't want to do, right? So to give like a very easy example, like if you really, 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 really don't want to go somewhere because the idea scares you, it terrifies you to your core, you might see that right before you're supposed to go, you'll suddenly develop a cold, or you'll get a stomach flu, or some health issue will happen to you that's so acute that you can't possibly go on this trip, right? And you were perfectly fine before that, but now suddenly you're sick. Like it's literally possible for your mind to make you sick if you are so, like I said, if the emotion attached to it is that strong. And whatever is going on with Cassian right now, like, and I've noticed that pretty much since the beginning of this season, he's not been at ease at all. You know what I'm saying? Like if you look at him in season 1, in the beginning half of that season, he was somewhat at ease, right? There was some level of peace to be felt for him. But since this season started, that man has not been at ease. It's like there's been something that's just been in the back of him, keeping him on edge at all times, which is some of the reasons why he's been so snappy and so confrontational and, just very all over the place. And I do believe that what this force healer was trying to say to him is that there are things trying to drive you right now, and that's why you can't find your peace. This wound that won't heal. I mean, if you're hurt, you can't be put out on missions, right? If you have this shoulder issue, then Luthen's not going to ask you to do anything, right? So as I said, I think that there's a whole thing going on with Cassian on a much deeper level that is keeping him from healing properly, keeping him from finding proper peace, and he has to address it. And Bix basically, when he got back after she was done talking to the force healer, and they got back to their home and she saw that Cassian did feel better. He did notice that there was less tension, less of that, I would call it pressure and pain. Bix was like, I know you feel better because whatever that woman did, she helped you release some of what you were holding there, some of those emotions, some of whatever the emotional thing that was keeping you from healing. She was able to tap into that and let some of that go. And so, of course, Cassian doesn't want to admit it, but Bix is right? She told him, she's like, whatever this is, you need to let it in. Whatever you're trying to fight, the feeling, whatever it is that you're continuously trying to push away, you need to let that in, because if you keep fighting it, this cycle that we're in is going to continue. So anyway, we see that as a result, this Cassian decided to go on this mission with Wilman. I think maybe that's part of what he thought maybe might help with this agitation he's feeling. But we saw that once he got there, things are a lot worse than he thought they were. Because last time he was in Gorman, right? Like I said, I love that they showed the juxtaposition of the square. When Cassian was there last, there was Gormans running around, there was kids playing in the street, there was stands and commerce happening. Now, nothing. It's just quiet. There's nothing but Imperial presence. It's heavy, it's dark. So really good juxtaposition there by the show to show us how things have changed so drastically. And even, Cassian was like, damn, I didn't realize things have gotten this bad here. But I think he's starting to recognize that getting Dedra is not going to be as easy as Wilman might like it to be. And we also are seeing that the resistance is falling apart. Like, unsurprisingly, they were never really that unified to begin with. This is what Cassian was warning about, that they were not ready to be part of a rebellion because they couldn't even solidify what they wanted to do within themselves. And it's gotten worse, obviously, now that Dedra, with Cyril's help, has been playing the resistance like a string, like an instrument, right? So yeah, it's not good for them. They're realizing they're losing. It's getting worse. They're getting more desperate. But again, all of these things are feeding exactly into what the Empire wants. And now we're seeing that Rylands has figured that out too late. He's starting to understand now that, oh wow, like we have been playing into their hands. Like we have to stop with the aggressive, the bombings. We have to stop with the aggressive resistance, because it's not like they're spinning it to make it look like we're the aggressors when that's not what's happening. And it's making us look like the villains, right? The Empire is turning against us. The planets are turning against us. So yeah, he's figured it out. But of course, the young hot bloods are still like, well, we can't just sit around, So sadly, like I said, Cassian was right. They weren't ready. And now, because of their anxiousness to jump into this whole thing, it's just become a big mess. And so it's sad. And, is it salvageable? We don't know, but we see that Dedra got that information from on high that the Empire is going ahead with basically destroying the planet. I mean, was it ever really a question? The way he said it, like they were reconsidering. The only reason I'm wondering if the reason why he said that is potentially because Dedra has maybe appealed for them to try to find another solution. Like we don't know how long she's been there, but it looks like she's been on Gorman for a while. And I'm thinking this is actually coming from Cyril, because Cyril now has spent a lot of time with these people. It's been over a year since he's been with the Gormans, working with the resistance. And I think he's starting to realize these are just people, right? He's around these people. He's seeing these are people. These are families. I think all the stigmas he might have thought about the Gormans, he's starting to realize were all lies. And now he's seeing that they're people. And again, I don't know fully what Dedra told him this was about, but I think he can sense that things are getting bad, and he didn't want it to get this far. I think he always thought it was just going to be like maybe a few people would be arrested, roughed up, and then they'd come into line. But the fact that it's escalated to this point, I don't think that Cyril thought it would get that far. The interaction he had with that contact, I think he genuinely feels bad that their people are getting hurt and being vilified. And now, like he said, he's going to Dedra going like, what is actually going on here? Like, I feel like you're not telling me things anymore. I can sense something big is happening and you're not talking to me. And she won't tell him. I mean, she's been told not to tell him for obvious reasons. But you know what I'm saying? I think even she realizes he's not going to be down with wiping all these people out, right? We've heard now they want to impose martial law. They want to force relocation. And basically anybody who doesn't want to listen to that is going to be taken out with the planet, right? And even hearing, like she said, you know, the resistance has weapons now. And he said, yeah, we're counting on it. AKA, we already know from the get-go that the Empire never had any plans to relocate everybody. They're, if anything, they were hoping to maybe, not hoping, they were planning at most to save a handful, but the idea was Gorman and Gorman people, they were effectively going to be a footnote in history. That's basically the Empire's thinking, right? So yeah, I think that possibly it's hard to tell with Dedra because she's so unemotional. That woman is so detached. It's very hard to tell, but I do think it's bothering her now. I don't think she's very happy. She never really liked this plan anyway. She was never really down for this, but now that she's on the ground of it and seeing it and recognizing that, you know, seeing the faces of the people that are going to literally be gone because of her and her plan. I mean, it was the Empire's plan, but it's, you know, this whole thing with the insurgency and that, like, she's facilitating it. Yeah, I do think that Dedra's feeling some type of way about it and that she's maybe not so okay as she thought she might be. Like what she was saying to Cyril in that hallway about, don't worry about it, like just be ready to go. When we get back to Coruscant, everything's gonna be good, things are waiting. I feel like it wasn't just for placating Cyril. I think she was possibly telling herself that, like, as a justification, because as closed off as Dedra is, she is still human, believe it or not. So I don't know of any human in their right mind that's okay with wiping out an entire society. Like, that's just not a natural thing. No one should be okay with that. No one should feel like that's the right thing to do, especially since these people literally did. She knows for a fact the Gormans did nothing other than be in the wrong place at the wrong time. This is not a valid, like, there's never, in my opinion, a valid reason to wipe out an entire, you know, group of people, but these people are completely undeserving of it. So yeah, we'll have to see. There's definitely a lot of pins and needles happening here. And I mean, Dedra and Cyril could be huge linchpins in switching this thing around if they choose to. And that's the other reason why Will and Cassian taking her out can end up being a bigger mistake than not, right? Because, I mean, we don't know. She might still just stick to the plan and not change anything. But I said in the earlier part of the episode that maybe what might happen is that maybe Cassian will get her dead to rights, and then she might trade for her life, say, listen, if you take me out, then you're not going to find out what they really have planned for this place. And we have a chance to stop it, but not if I'm taken out, right? I can see something like that happening, but we'll have to see. But yeah, this episode was definitely a little bit more on the cerebral side of things, but I enjoyed it. I like that they're adding more layers and stakes to this whole thing as we're getting closer to the end of this series, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed watching along with me. If you did, please show some love, and I'll see you in the next one.